Greetings all. My last video was way too long, so this one I'm going to try and make short and snappy. Instead of a whole week, I'm just going to talk about my day yesterday, which was a lot of fun. I suppose the main defining point of the day is that it was the last day of Harajuku Kawaii week. Now, I can't profess to be a particularly kawaii sort of person, or to particularly like the kind of kawaii fashions, but I went along anyway. First I had band practice, and as expected, the singer wasn't very keen on the much heavier material we've been working on, so I think that's probably going to get shelved, at least probably all but one of the tracks. Anyway, after that I headed to Harajuku and was lucky enough to meet my friends on the street there. We took part in this kind of small-scale fashion walk thing that was mostly a bit weird. We thought it was going to be some kind of organised event with a stage, but in fact it was just sort of walking through the streets of Harajuku advertising somebody's product, which wasn't quite what we signed up for. Either way, it was fun hanging out with friends and watching them do karaoke afterwards. What I was really there for, though, was the music that was set up as part of the event. Primarily, I just wanted to see the Tempura Kids. If you've never heard of them, they're a group of kids in their early teens with very bright fashion sense. They found fame as the backing dancers for Kyari Pamu Pamu, and then a music video for a song about vegetables kind of went a little bit viral a couple of years ago. Anyway, I definitely very much enjoyed their exuberant live show. Charisma.com, who I saw performing the other day, were headlining the event, but I couldn't stick around because I had to head down to another gig down in Kawasaki. In quite a contrast from all the kawaii stuff, the theme was female-fronted metal bands. When I arrived, there was this sort of early 90s Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses style band on. They knew what they were doing and their singer had a good voice. After that was an act that really wasn't my cup of tea. There was a rhythm section, a bassist and a drummer who were obviously decent session musicians playing along in the background. But there was a cute idol-style front woman who was really badly miming her guitar and really badly miming her vocals. Next were the band I'd come to see, symphonic metal band Illupia. Once the members have a bit more coherence and the songs really groove, I think they'll be an excellent band. And the final act for the night were the first visual K band I've actually managed to see out here, unless you count SADS. They were called Lapis Light, and while their music was perhaps a little bit uninspired, they had a really slick delivery, and yeah, props to the front woman for also playing the violin. Honestly, by and large, my experience of Japanese gigs has been they're a little bit weird. For example, it's very common for almost the entire audience to completely change between different acts on a bill. So if the band you came to see isn't on stage, it seems to be very normal to completely leave the hall and do something else for a while. Which I think is a shame, because that's how you discover a lot of new music. As a result, last night, even though ticket sales were probably quite good, the large venue was mostly empty for almost every act. There's also a kind of regimented quality to how the crowds tend to act at gigs here. I'm not just talking about the fans of like idol groups who do synchronized moves together. It goes for fans of metal and hardcore as well. There's a lot of fist pumping at very specific times of certain songs, and a lot of throwing the horns for, you know, styles of metal that you would never see people doing that for in the West. I have to say that was also the first metal gig I've been to where the primary drink of choice was Smirnoff Ice. Still, different countries do things in their own way, and there's a lot that I really like about the Japanese music scene. I like that people actually go to gigs and engage with the music, which often didn't seem to be the case in London, if I'm honest. And the standard of equipment and overall sound, even in the smaller venues here, is so much better. I've yet to go to a gig here where you just can't hear the vocalist. Whereas if you can actually hear what they're singing in London, you know you're in a really good place. Generally, all this music is making me really keen to get out and play in my own bands here. To that end, I'm meeting someone from a second band that I'm planning to join tonight. It was going to be tomorrow, but we moved it to today because the rains from a nearby typhoon are probably going to hit tomorrow. Oh, and I just remembered, some friends introduced me in the evening to a little place in Kabukicho, where the beers are 120 yen, and the food is about 300 yen. That's about 70p for a beer, maybe 3/4 of a pint. I really can't argue with those prices, and takoyaki was pretty good as well. That was a great end to a really fun and busy day. Okay, see you next time.